Now when we have finished the Stirling engine, we will take a look at how to model some parts in the different way. We will use a different approach to get the same result. So we will begin with the bearing bracket here. So I will move the camera to flywheel, and we select the bracket and come over to the scene browser and expand the bracket. We will see that we have used several features like block, cylinder and cut cylinders and so on. So we will see what we can do with a different approach. So we select the pillar and then we hide unselected by pressing Ctrl Alt Space, and then we will drag a extrude shape, right drag an extrude shape and drop it here in the center, top as part, and change the thickness to 3. And then we right click and choose Edit Cross Section. Now we will select these lines to delete them. So I will select this one and double click to select all 4, and then I will delete the lines. So now we will project this surface to the grid. So I will come up here to select Project and click here. Then I will press Escape to exit the Project command. Then I will deselect and select this circle. We see that the radius is 1.6, but we will change that to 2. So if we come over to the properties, we see that the value is already selected, so that we can type 2 and hit enter. And we can do the same with this one. Select the circle, type 2 and hit enter. And the length of this line is 26, and that's fine. And the length of this line is 18.7, but it should be 18, and the same with this line. So we have to change the length of the line. If you come over to the properties, when the line is selected, we see we have the length here, and here we can type 18, but if I hit enter now, I will only change the length of the selected line and not that one. So, and I will undo this. But if I double click this box, I can change here to 18, and if this box is checked and I click OK, I will change the length of both lines at the same time. And now we have to move the lines to the center. So I will double click this line when it is selected to select all 4. Then I will zoom in a bit, and here we have the midpoint of this line. So when I hover the cursor over the midpoint, the cursor turns into a hand. Here I can left click and hold. Then I will drag the lines perpendicular to the y-axis so that I snap to the y-axis here, and then here I will let go the left mouse button, and now the lines are placed in the center of this surface. The next step is to make the head of the bracket that will be placed out here. So we will use a circle to do that. I will press S and select circle, and I will click here on the origin. Then I will drag and right click and type 11, hit enter. Then I press escape to exit the circle command. Now we have to move this circle to its right location. So I will select the circle and come up here to select move. We see in the properties that the circle is already selected now, and drag entities is activated. That means that now I can drag the circle to the right location. So I will grab the midpoint here, drag it along the x-axis. I will drop it there, and here I will type 65, and the y direction should be 0. So now I will click OK, and the circle will be placed here in the right location. So now we have to combine these two by make a bridge between the circle and this part of the bracket. To do that, we will use a 2-point line. So I will press S and use 2-point line here. Then I will click here on the circle, and then I come over to this side and click on the midpoint of this line. Then press escape to exit the 2-point line. And we will have to make a copy of this line, one copy on each side. So to do that, we will use offset command. And then we will select this line, and we see now there is a preview of a copy on this side. And if we come over to the properties, we see here in distance, the distance is 10, but we will change that to 6. And we don't need any offset constraints, so I will uncheck that box. But we need a bidirectional so that we have a copy on each side. Then I click OK, and the line here in the middle is still selected, so I will press delete to delete it because we don't need it right now. Then we will extend these two lines, so I will press S and select Extend Curve, and I will click on this side on the line and here as well to extend it to the circle. Then I press Escape to exit command. We need to trim some geometry, so I will press S or select Trim, then I will trim that circle and this line. Then I press Escape to exit the command. Next step is to make some holes, one hole for the shaft and then 3 holes for the screws. So I will press the S key to select circle, click here in the center, right click and type 2.5. Then that's for the shaft, and now we will create a circle for a screw, so I will click here in the center, drag and right click and type 1.5 and hit enter. Then I press Escape to exit the command. I select this circle and I will also move the circle, so I will click Move, and now it is selected and Drag Entities is activated, so now I can grab the center point of this circle, drag it along the x-axis and drop it here. And here in X properties it should be 8 and Y should be 0. So now I will click OK, and we have the hole for a screw here. But we need 2 more, so we will make a hole pattern of this hole, and to do that we will use the rotate command. So now when the circle is already selected, we click rotate, and the circle is already selected here in selected entities. But we have to move the rotation center from the origin to the center of this hole or this circle. And we come over here to the properties. We need copy, and we also need 2 copies. So I type 2, and the rotation angle will be 360 divided by 3. Then I press Tab and we will see a preview of the 2 holes. So now I will click OK, and we got the holes here now. Next step is to add some fillets here in this corner and this corner. So we will select these 2 corners by making a window selection. We drag from right to left to make a crossing selection like this, and then we will press the S key to select fillet, and then we click on this node and drag so that we can change both nodes, both corners. So here I will type 4 and hit enter. Then we come over to this side and we do the same here. Press Escape first to exit the command, and then we will make a crossing selection from right to left to select all corners here. And then I will press the S key to select fillet. Then I click here on this node and drag, and I will type 1 and hit enter. Then I press Escape to exit the command. Then I right click, choose Finish Drawing, and we have made the bracket. So now when we select the bracket, we can come over to the scene browser. We see that if we expand the bracket, we see that we have only one feature now, and that's a block. But I will go to the properties and I will type bearing bracket, type alternative, hit enter, and I will copy and paste it here like so. But this bearing bracket will not be an original part of the Stirling engine. I will select it, and then I will right click and choose suppress. Then we will bring back all the other parts and we'll press Shift Space to show all. And I will move the camera to top front right and fit scene. So that was a different approach to model the bearing bracket, but we got the same result as we did before.